Lesson 28. We're going to be continuing to talk about the city of Babylon. And we're going to go on to the later date of 615 to 561 BC. And this was the new kingdom of Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar II. And he's presented in the Bible a number of times, as we see in Jeremiah, as we see in Daniel, as we go through the Bible, and we'll see especially in Daniel, because we'll even his words, his praise toward the true and living God is quoted there. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's talk about Nebuchadnezzar. Let's talk about the new Babylon. This city was magnificent. It was rebuilt, enlarged city, 11 miles long, 11 miles wide, along the Euphrates. Canals were built underneath it, run underneath. And in fact, the Euphrates River ran right underneath the city. There was a huge bridge with brick pillars, docks and warehouses to trade there along the Euphrates River, a double-walled protection, and a triple ramparts to protect the city. There was a temple of Marduk 7 stories high, and this was the shrine, probably like I said before, right where the place where the Tower of Babel had been. And the gates, 8 gates of the city. Ishtar Gate was the main entrance. It's 38 feet tall, and the walls were 50 feet tall. Such a magnificent place. There was the procession way, which was a brick paved road, 1/2 mile long. Now things were paved in blue and yellow bricks, almost like follow the yellow brick road, huh? And they would have an annual New Year's parade right down in the midst of that yellow brick road. And each brick, all these bricks, Nebuchadnezzar would put his initials on every brick. Like everything he built had his initials, so we know that Nebuchadnezzar built it. Kind of a, proud guy, huh? There were 2 palace complexes, which were 40 acres long, and there were slaves working all the time. You can imagine he took some of the Israelite slaves and what they worked on. And then the beautiful hanging gardens were considered one of the ancient wonders of the world. And the ancient wonder of the world was built by Nebuchadnezzar for his wife, who was from Iran, Amyntas. So here, this magnificent palace, magnificent hanging gardens, and Nebuchadnezzar could look all over and say, wow, look at this. Look what I have created. And we'll see when he does that, what happens to him. We'll find in the book of Daniel as he stands above and looks over his beautiful palaces and thinks all about himself. And he builds a statue up to himself, where he was humbled. God allows him to be humbled. And he ends up very confused in his mind. He had a disease that he thought he was a cow, and he ate grass for 7 years. And then God gave him back his mind. What a way of being humble, don't you think? Oh, my goodness. So when we think of Babylon, we think it would go on forever, wouldn't we? Such a magnificent place. But Babylon's time had come. God had despite its splendor, God had a specific time that he was going to judge Babylon, just as he had judged the Assyrian Empire, and just as he had judged Israel. And we'll go on to see about that. But what happens is described in Daniel 5, and it describes the Persians, sneaking under in the midst. The Babylonian king is just parting away. And they're happy, and they're having this drinking party. In come the Persians. They dammed up the river that went underneath Babylon, and they brought their army and snuck in the midst of all this. And in one night, they conquered the great empire of Babylon. Great city of Babylon. Can you imagine that? I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to go on with some specifics about what I've described about Nebuchadnezzar.